Hi there. Before we start, a little history lesson. Have you ever heard of the Battle of Teutoburg Forest? So, basically, 3 Roman legions went home from their summer camp to spend the winter near the Rhine. One of the staff from the camp, named Arminius aka Herman, betrayed them and the legions were never heard of again. So, what happened after that battle? There were no further Roman expansions to the lands northeast of the Rhine until Rome's eventual downfall. After the fall, the borders along the River Rhine got messed up. Everyone wanted to control the river. So why is this river so important? Let's find out. Alright, back to the Romans. The Roman Empire at its peak. See there, from Britain to Iraq. That's an achievement back then. In Germania, the Romans had this line of frontier named Limes Germanicus. Not necessarily a wall though, just fortresses here and there, stretching from the North Sea to Austria. Yes, the southern parts of this limes deviated, but the northern parts followed the Rhine. Why did the Romans follow the river? Well, it's easier to defend your border when it's on a riverbank, especially when the river is so wide. The Romans knew this, and their borders in continental Europe were mostly on riverbanks, the Rhine and the Danube that goes to the Black Sea in modern-day Romania. Want some more proofs? The French. They've been trying to expand their border to reach the Rhine for God knows how many times. This was France before 1648, and these treaties were the results of their goal of reaching the Rhine. Westphalie, Pyrenees, Aix-la-Chapelle, Nîmes, and Ryswick. Nailed it, one take, no cuts. Plus, this was France under King Louis XV. Furthermore, despite the memes, the French have inflicted major damage to the Germans for at least 3 times. And by damage, I mean damage that were significant geopolitically, like taking territories and occupation. Europe under Napoleon, that time when France controlled the whole western side of the Rhine, and more. Not to mention the vassals though, the closest of which was the Rheinbund, the confederation of the Rhine here inside the Red Globe. It was a bunch of different powers, bunched together to be the puppet for the French. There were other vassals too, but I'm too lazy to draw them separately, so I just put them in lighter blue. And what you see here in dark blue is the territory governed by the French First Empire. As you can see that, the whole western side of the Rhine, the Low Countries, and parts of Niedersachsen, Hamburg, and Schleswig-Holstein. And the Germans definitely got wrecked. We also have Austria in yellow after the HRE was dissolved, and also Prussia in dark grey, losing many of its territories in the west. In a scenario where the Rheinbund switched sides for some reasons and then joined by those other pesky Germans, the French would have a better position to defend. So they can defend there and allocate other troops to other fronts because they won't need as much men when defending a riverbank, etc, etc. But then Waterloo happened, Napoleon got defeated and exiled for good. The borders were restored for France. Moving on. Franco-Prussian War. The Germans had Alsace-Lorraine, and then, the second time the French destroyed those nosy Germans, despite dressing up like this. Post-First World War. This was France and Germany before the First World War, and this was after. Again, repeating Napoleon, kind of. Rhineland was occupied until, you know what I'm saying, sensitive topic. But the Rhineland occupation kinda had the same purpose to what Napoleon did. A free, natural border. The difference was that the lands on the riverbank of the Rhine are much more developed and much richer at the time than in Napoleon's time. So not only did the French have a free natural border, but also wealthy and heavily industrialized areas to occupy and steal resources from, such as coal. Oh yeah, plenty of coal too. Moving on, again, the third time the French Germans, post-Second World War. This time, it's not just the French, but also everybody who hated the Germans. As you can see from looking solely on the physical border of the French side, kind of a repetition of previous strategies. Anyway, in the Cold War, the significance of the Rhine as a natural border didn't just fade away, despite the development of weapons of mass destruction. You know, like a nuclear bomb that doesn't care if you have a natural border. But both sides understood MAD, so they still considered a more primitive way to wage war. And the Rhine as a natural border regained its significance once more. both sides needed the Rhine. From the Soviet side, there was 7 days to the Rhine. The objective? Bridge the Rhine in 7 days and then establish a springboard to launch further operations further west. From the NATO side, they once considered a crazier plan to counter this. Nuke everything east of the Rhine with tactical nukes, so that those commies would have to enter a nuclear wasteland before even reaching the Rhine. I think you all get it, the geopolitical significance of the Rhine, a natural border. Something like a ditch for the Romans and the French to keep those nosy Germans away. And the Soviets too in the Cold War. That's it for this video. I'll continue in part 2 with the Rhine being Europe's very important trade route. FYI, there is a comment section where you can fight. So use it to fight. It's the internet after all. Plus, if you disagree with me, I can always hide behind the channel's name by saying, "These are mere opinions. Have a great day."